So Suge and Dre formed Death Row. And at what point does Suge reach out to you for security services?
Okay. Well, some will say Suge, Dre, Doc,
DLC,
and Dick Griffey for
yeah. We have that whole
Death
story.
Row.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna get into that now.
Right.
But ultimately, it was Suge and Dre, and that formed Death Row. I wasn't reach out until the end of 1994 is when I started officially working for Death Row Records.
94.
94. The end of 94.
Okay, by 94 they were fully established.
They were doing great.
Yeah, like The Chronic was out, Doggy Style was out,
Above the Rim was out.
Above the Rim was out, Murder Was the Case was out.
It was coming out. Well, that's
it was
when
coming
I
out?
started. Yeah.
Okay, so that was before Pac got there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. The Dog Pound album, I guess, was out.
Not
Oh, it
yet.
wasn't out yet.
Not
Okay.
yet.
But still, you're talking about big multi-platinum albums.
Correct.
Death Row was a money-making machine.
It was doing very well at that time.
Okay.
So what had happened was, like I said, I was already dealing with the medical issue, my right ankle. I was having trouble with my with my right ankle, which I eventually got retired for. But what happened was we had got intel that a few of the guys that was working for Death Row Records was planning on robbing and kidnapping Suge or holding them for ransom.
One of his employees?
Yes, homeboys.
Okay. Quasi-employees.
Yeah.
Were planning on kidnapping him and ransoming him.
Yes.
Trying to get a ransom for him.
Correct.
Okay.
My father got that intel.
Got it.
My father just wanted to pretty much give him heads up. Say, hey, Suge, And so we met. I remember the corner. We met at this dairy on the corner of Long Beach and Myrrh. And which happened to be in Southside Crips area, pretty much. But we met at that dairy, and we were talking. And Suge was like, he rubbed it off, pretty much. I don't know if he believed it or not, but knowing Suge, he just like, yeah, well, I'll deal with that. I don't believe that, but that's why y'all need to be over here watching my back anyway. That's pretty much what he said. Y'all need to be with me. Me, I'm 26, 27 years of age at the time. Seeing what they doing, the things that was going around Death Row, and I was kind of intrigued to make some money. I didn't plan on leaving my career as a police officer at the time, but to make some extra money. And I was like, yeah, I want to do it. My father was like, oh man, half the guys that's working for you, I'm trying to get them on some cases myself. I'm not coming, okay. I have no interest.
So your dad turned it down?
Yes.
But you did not?
I didn't turn it down. However, at that point, I wasn't the main guy. My father suggested another lieutenant by the name of Danny Sneed that Suge had a relationship because his sister and his wife were good friends, and suggested, and he had a private security company by the name of Code 4 that he was affiliated with. And he suggested that maybe we all work together and provide security for his major events, not to eventually the bodyguard work and the day-to-day operations, but just for events that he was having. And that's how we started off.
Okay, but eventually you formed Right Way Security.
Correct.
That came later?
That came later.
Okay, so how did that come about?
That came about, I had pretty much at the point where I had to get retired, was about to get retired. An incident at the El Rey Theater had happened and this company, Code 4 Security, was the security company. And I had some disagreements with the way things were done and felt that they didn't do things that they should have done. And I decided at that point that I was going to form my own security company.
Okay. And then Suge hired Right Way?
I was already employed for Death Row, and eventually, yes, he hired Right Way, or I hired Right Way as, the director or the chief of security for Death Row.
Okay. So being head of, so you're basically head of security for Death Row?
Head of security for Death Row.
Okay. Now, I've interviewed a lot of people.
Okay.
from Death Row, affiliated with Death Row, and so forth. And the way it got described to me was like it was kind of like a gangbanging frat house.
Okay.
Where gangsters were everywhere around. There was guns and dope all around. It was a fairly chaotic environment.
Yeah, when you say dope, I don't like to use the term dope. I didn't see any dope. I've never seen any dope outside of marijuana.
Okay, but guns.
There was probably an illusion that guns were around, or people felt that they were around because of the type of guys that was there. But to say they were just laying on a table or walking around with their shirt up and a gun hanging out of their pockets, that's not accurate.
That's not true. Okay. Well, you also hear a lot of stories about the violence that happened at Death Row. Apparently there was like a room in the back without a door handle, and when they didn't like somebody, they got dragged in the back of the room and they beat the shit out of them.
While I was there, or security, I never heard of an incident like that. I'm not saying that people didn't get slapped or there wasn't some assaults that happened, but I never saw or witnessed any incident like you just explained.
You also hear about the incident of Suge making someone drink piss.
That happened allegedly at a Christmas party.
Okay.
Where one of I think his name was Mark Anthony Bell or something like that. One of a guy that was working for
Puffy and Death Row.
He was working with Street Team. If y'all knew anything about Street Team guys back then, they were independent contractors that worked projects for every record company that was hot at the time, especially the urban record companies. That incident was later found, or I think he signed a agreement and a settlement where he said Suge wasn't one of the ones. It was Dr. Dre and a couple of other people that were the ones that had assaulted him.
Okay. So you're saying you didn't see any of this violence or anything?
I didn't see it. I'm not saying that didn't happen, but I didn't personally witness it.
Well, I interviewed Greg Kading.
Okay.
I guess, did you see the interview or the one that I did?
I may have saw snippets of it.
He said that
a law was passed that you're not supposed to provide, that cops or armed bodyguards aren't supposed to provide protective services for convicted criminals. So there was a compromising issue there.
I wasn't aware of it, and it definitely didn't happen on my watch because my police chief was trying to, he stopped us. He pulled our work permits. What happened was you had to have work permits to work for to work any off-duty job. And the word had got around that Right Way Protective Services, which was my security company, was supplying security because I was one of the first ones that started this, off-duty or retired police officers working for the rappers or these so-called, bad guys. And so eventually they gave us permission to work because they didn't know they was working for Right Way Protective Services. But the federal government was following us around, or different task forces following us around, was seeing the guys always having these armed guys around them, and they're not getting in trouble like they were. And they getting their stuff together, and they didn't like it. And so they started going around to the different police chiefs and saying, hey, this guy's working for you. Working for these guys. Did you know that? And they were like, yeah, well, they work for Right Way Protective Services. They said, well, Right Way Protective Services is working for the guys. And so what happened, they eventually started pulling their work permits and banning them from working for Right Way Protective Services. That's what happened.
But they didn't pull your work permit?
By that time, I was on my way out to get retired.
Okay.
I had started my medical retirement.
Okay.
But yes, a lot of the guys that work for Compton Police Department, they were pulled theirs as well, and banned us for working for them and told us that we couldn't.